What's going on YouTube? You're watching Fixed by Shaq, and in today's video I'm gonna quickly show you how to fix your MacBook speakers if they're not playing any sound. Okay, so if you do not have any sound coming out here as an output sound from your MacBook, do not worry, I'm gonna show you how to fix this in today's tutorial. Hey, my name is Shaq, and in this channel I help you fixing tech related issues. So if you're into tech content, consider subscribing here to the YouTube channel. So jumping straight into the video, here we go. I've got in here a MacBook Pro 2019. And if you have a different MacBook model, do not worry because the steps are going to be the same, and I'll also show you how to perform the same steps on a different MacBook, much older MacBook as well. So first things first, what we're going to be doing in here, we need to figure out whether this is a software problem or a hardware problem. So I'll start by providing the software fixes, which is much easier to fix, and if none of these steps help you, do not worry. At the end I'll be talking about the hardware problem and the possible solutions for this annoying problem. Now, depending on your problem that you face, you might be seeing, for example, a mute sound or even a blocked sound, which is different from this one, or any other icon here, or even it might be the case that the icons in here show properly but you simply do not hear anything. Okay, so the very first thing in here we're going to be doing is we're going to call Siri. Okay, we want to see if the speakers are going to work, because regardless of the settings or the software issue that you've got, Siri has an independent sound channel in the system, which means that even if your computer is in the mute or in any other condition, Siri should work. So what we're gonna do is tap on Siri by tapping here on the button, or you can simply tap here on the top right corner on Siri right here. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna press and hold here on the Siri button here, the touch bar. In my case, I've got a touch bar in here. Press and hold. Hey Siri, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
So here we go. We've got Siri responding to us. Now, if Siri doesn't respond to you, what I would ask you to do is to double check whether the responses are turned on Siri's side. This is important. So we're gonna hop into the top left corner, tap on the Apple logo, and then tap here on System Settings. Okay, it's the second option. So once we're here, we're gonna go down all the way to Siri and then tap here on Siri responses. Okay, so once you tap on Siri responses, you want to make sure that voice feedback is turned on. Okay, it needs to be toggled on. Tap on done, close, and then try talking to Siri once again. So we're gonna press and hold here the Siri option. Hi Siri, how are you doing?
I feel good. Thanks for asking.
And then Siri should respond to you. If Siri responds to you, this is a very good sign. This means that your speakers are working fine. It's just a software issue that we'll be able to solve right now. Now, if Siri doesn't respond, this might mean that this might be a more complicated issue, but do not worry because I'll be talking about the hardware issue at the end of the video as well. So let's move into the next step. So on step number 2, we're gonna tap here on the Apple logo at the top left corner. We're gonna tap here on System Settings. Once you tap on System Settings, we're gonna scroll down all the way to Sound. Okay, so I'm running one of the latest versions of macOS. If you have a different one, the system preferences screen might be a bit different, but we still have the sound option in here. So here we are at sound. Here we need to hop into output. As you guys see, we have output in here, and at the right we've got input. So we want to stick to output itself, and we want to make sure that on output MacBook Pro speakers built-in is selected. Okay, it needs to be selected like this. If it's not, if you have something else selected, simply double click on MacBook Pro speakers to make sure that your speakers are set up as default output source in here. Okay, and also you've got in here the output volume, which needs to be of course high, and also double check the balance option in here. If it's like, for example, full to the left side, then if it's not playing, try moving it a bit to the center or to the right to see if it plays, because it might be the case that one of your speaker is damaged but the other one is actually working. So you also want to double check this. Okay, so once you double check this, try playing your speakers, and if it still doesn't work, do not worry, we're moving into the next step. So once you're done doing this, we're gonna close system preferences. If it still doesn't work, we're gonna tap here on the spotlight search and we're gonna search for audio MIDI setup. Okay, so we're gonna type audio MIDI setup and then we're gonna open up audio MIDI setup right here by double clicking on it. Next up, you'll be able to see this new screen in here, where here at the left you should be able to see MacBook Pro speakers. So you need to see MacBook Pro speakers and you need to be able to see this icon right here, which means speakers on. Okay, so this needs to be here and turn on like this, and if it's not, you're gonna right click on MacBook Pro speakers and select use this device for sound output. Okay, so if you do not see the icon, right click and tap on use this device for sound output. Okay, now after doing this, you want to restart your computer. Okay, simply restart your computer and see if this fixed the problem that you've got. Here we go, computer is now restarting, and after restarting, double check if the problem is fixed or not. Now, if the problem still persists, this might be a hardware issue, and what we'll be doing next will be to reset the PRAM and the NVRAM of our computer. And in order to do this, first things first, we're gonna need to turn off our computer. To shut it down, tap here in the top left corner, shut down, tap on enter, and then after a couple seconds, your computer will be turned off. So once your computer is turned off, what we'll be doing is we're going to tap once on the power button and then we'll immediately hold the option key along with the command key, along with the R key, along with the P key right here. So you want to hold all of these keys for a couple seconds until you see twice the Apple logo or you hear twice the chime while turning it on, depending on your MacBook model. So this is how it goes. Let me quickly position my fingers in here. Okay, I'm positioned. Let me tap on power. Power is on, pressing and holding the keys. First chime, first Apple logo, keep on holding the keys. Second chime, second Apple logo, release the keys. As you see, this is going to take you a few seconds, like 5 to 6 seconds. Once you hear it the second time, you're going to release it and your laptop should now be turned on. Now, once this is done, you're going to try logging into your user and checking if the problem persists. Now, if this doesn't fix the problem, we need to immediately turn off our computer and move into the last step. I believe this step should help fixing the problem, and if it doesn't, you might be facing a hardware issue. Now, I've got in here two different MacBook models. One is a 2019 and the other one is a 2013 or 14 MacBook. So I've got a much newer MacBook here and a much older MacBook in here. Make sure the laptop is turned on, so I'll show you how to do it in both models, because with this newer model the process changed a bit, but I'll be showing you in this video how to do it. So I'll start with an older version and then I'll cover the new one. Okay, so I want to make sure that you follow the guide properly regardless of your MacBook model. So starting here with this MacBook right here, what we're going to be doing in here is we're going to flip our MacBook down in this position and then we're gonna unscrew the screws in here. What we want to do is very simple. We just want to disconnect the battery from the motherboard so your computer doesn't get any power. It completely turns it off, and then we're gonna reconnect it to restart it from a deep sleep. Okay, this might help fixing the problem that you've got. But in order to unscrew these screws right here, you're gonna need a screwdriver, which is this one. It's a pentalobe screwdriver, and the link to this screwdriver is in the description box below. It's an Amazon link, and this should cost you a few bucks. Now let's quickly unscrew here the screws. It's a pretty easy process. First screw is out. Second screw is out. Simply attach it here and then scroll it to the left. The screw should be out in a few seconds. Okay, do not worry, this is a simple process and all MacBooks do have the same type of screws, so this should work for you. Now be careful, because these two screws right here at the middle are usually longer than the other ones. So make sure you position the screws exactly at a location where you can actually remember where they actually belong from. In my case, I've got, for example, these two here because they connected here, this one here, this one here, this one here. So just put it in an easy way and in a safe location, okay? And be careful not to lose them because these are really tiny screws. So once you're done deattaching the screws here from your MacBook device, you're gonna gently pull up the back cover from here, okay? Gently, you're gonna pull it up, but be very gentle because in a few MacBooks, there are a few wires attached here to the back panel. This is not my case in here, but I've seen a few MacBook models. So once you release the case from your MacBook device, you're gonna put it back like this. This is how your MacBook should look like. Now, this is the battery. The battery is usually located down here in all MacBooks. We've got here cells, as you can see, battery cells. Combining all them, this is the entire battery. In my case, I have 4 cells. You might be having like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or different type of representation. I'll show you in the other MacBook as well. So here we need to find the connector that connects the battery to the motherboard. This is the only thing we want to search for. Now make sure you do not have wet hands and you do not spill water over here. This is the only thing you need to be careful. So in my case, it's very easy. It's located right here. As you can see, this is the only connector that connects right here. On MacBooks, it's usually located right here or here at the right, okay, or here at the middle. In my case, it's right here at the left. And if you have any doubt, you can leave a comment down below and I'll make sure I reply to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, if I take some time to reply, you can also search online on Google to find out the exact model that you've got and how your battery connector should look like. So in my case in here, all I need to do according to my connector is simply pull it up with my nails, okay? And here we go, it's now disconnected, okay? In a few connectors, you might need to pull it down because the connector might be like this, like the ones that you need to insert it inside and pull it out downwards to remove it. In my case, I just need to pull it up upwards, and here we go, we're good to go. Now, what I would recommend you guys to do is to do this and wait for 10 to 15 seconds. Now, once this is done, after 10 to 15 seconds, we're gonna simply reattach the connector. Here we go. If it's the one that you need to insert, simply reinsert it, and here we go, we're good to go. What we'll be doing now is we're gonna place our MacBook down and then we're gonna reattach the back panel. So once we're done with this, we're gonna flip it. Before reattaching the screws back on, we're going to open up the MacBook and then we're gonna try turning it on. Press it once, wait for a couple seconds. If it doesn't turn on, press it for the second time. Wait for a couple seconds. If it doesn't turn on, don't worry, press it for the third time and it should turn on. In my case, as you guys can see, I don't have charge right now. It showed up that I don't have charge. So if that's the case, simply connect your charger and your MacBook should turn on automatically. So once we are sure that our MacBook is turning on and everything's back to normal, working fine, what we're gonna be doing is we'll simply shut it down. Once again, we'll close the laptop, disconnect the charger, flip it back to reattach the screws, okay? The idea is just to not attach the screws before double checking if everything's fine, okay? Because otherwise you'll have to screw and then unscrew it again and then screw it back on. This will take you a lot of time. So let's quickly screw back the screws. I'll start with the longer ones here. Here we go, screw it to the right. And once this is done, we're gonna flip it back and we're good to go here with our MacBook. Now, if you have a much recent MacBook model such as this one, the process will be similar. Let's quickly open up. Just the way of opening is slightly different and the connector is located at a different location. So here we go. Let's start with our pentalobe screwdriver right here. Let's start by unscrewing the screws here. Top right corner, we've got a much longer screw in here. Top left corner, and then down here. Here we go, a much smaller one. Small one. Small one again. And here we go. Now, please note that on this one, the back panel has a few hinges connected over here, okay? Here, here, and here, I believe. So what we want to do is This is the lower side. We want to make sure we disconnect the hinges and then we pull it downwards. Okay, so in order to do this, I would recommend you guys to use something like a card or anything like that that will help you creating that space. So here we go. I'm gonna start here from the right side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna simply put it here, and as you can see, I can easily pull up the back cover. Do not put it way too in, otherwise it will be messing with something else. Just put it a bit. See, it's in, it's not doing anything, but if I bring it a bit out, I can now have access here to the back panel. Okay, so you want to make sure you've got something made of plastic and simply put it a bit, right? You want it to reach out to this first layer right here. Okay, so this position is better for me. You can also use your nail if you want to. As you can see, I'm using my nail, and then I'm gonna insert the card down here. See, use your nail to start it from here to open it up, and then put your card in here. And then what we need to do is simply pull it backwards. You're gonna hear a noise. Do not worry. Here we go. It's disconnected. It's not damaging. Do not worry. So you've got the first click in here. It's done. This hinge at the right in feeder corner is now disconnected. Now we're gonna move all the way downwards like this. Now we're gonna move all the way to the right like this. Now make sure you do not insert the card way too much, just a bit, so you don't mess around with other components. So once you're here at the right, insert your nail, pull it up. Here we go. We've got the second click. This hinge is disconnected. This hinge is also disconnected. Let me put it here on the table. Now that we've disconnected this hinge and this one, we're going to remove the card that we've used to perform this. And you can see we've got now some space in here. What we're going to be doing next is we're going to pull this back cover downward. Okay, so this is how it goes. Put your fingers here to hold the base, and you want to pull back the back panel. This is how it goes. See? Easy. You put your hand here and then you pull it backwards. From the left or from the right side, whichever side you feel is much easier according to your MacBook device. In my case, the left side was much easier, and as you guys can see in here, we've got two hinges, one here and one here. So these are the ones that we first disconnect from the two clicks, and then here we've got these two connectors right here. Okay, so as you can see, this is how it looks like. We just need to pull it downwards. So on this MacBook, you're gonna need a bit more time to do it, but it's so easy to do it. Let's keep our back panel aside. So here we go, we're now giving a look at our MacBook, and as you guys can see, as I've always said, the battery is always here at the bottom. At least as of now, I'm recording this video, all manufactured MacBooks do have batteries here at the bottom, and this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells, as I've mentioned in this video. So what we need to do in here is just disconnect the battery for a couple seconds and then reconnect. So this one is a bit more complicated, but do not worry, I'm gonna help you out with this. So this connector is connected right here. Let me quickly zoom it a bit. Here we go. The connector is down here below or underneath this small cable right here. So what we need to do is first disconnect this flex cable and then disconnect the battery. That's all we need to do. Now, to disconnect this flex cable, it's pretty easy. What we want to do is, first things first, we just want to bring up this small connector and then push it backwards from this little tape in here. In a few MacBooks, it might also be covered like this, but in mine it's already open. So we're gonna hold this thing right here like this and pull it back. But first we need to bring it up over here. So I can use my finger to do this. It's done. I don't know if you've noticed that it's already up. I'll put it down. Let me just quickly show it to you. It's down. I'm gonna pull it up. It's up. So make sure you do not touch any area with a metal part. You don't want to touch it with a metal part. You just want to use your fingers or anything made of plastic. You can also use the card if you want to. That's totally okay. So once you're done disconnecting here, what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna hold this. You want to pull it gently backwards. And this is how it should look like. Once you pull it backwards, this is how it should look like. That's all you need to do here to disconnect the flex cable. And now we need to disconnect the battery connector for a couple seconds. Now, as for the battery connector, we need to keep this flex cable aside. Okay, do not bend it. just keep it aside like this with your finger. You can hold it with your left hand to the side. Okay, here we go. Now this is where the connector of the battery is. As you can see, this screw right here, and then you've got a square. This is the screw that we need to unscrew to disconnect the battery. Now on these recent models, this is a MacBook with touch bar, you're gonna need a second screwdriver. Okay, not all MacBooks need a second screwdriver, but this one in specific requires. Okay, so I would recommend you guys to double check. If you need a second one, you're gonna need a second screwdriver, which is the Torx screwdriver right here. The Amazon link to this screwdriver is also in the description box below, and it should cost you a few bucks. Now what we need to do is, while holding the flex cable to the side, we're gonna quickly unscrew this screw right here. This is how it goes. It's quite strong. Left, 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 left. Keep the screwdriver aside. And here we go. This screw is now out and detached. Let's keep the screw aside. Make sure you keep it somewhere safe so you do not lose it. And this is how our MacBook battery connector should look like right here. Now, in order to disconnect this, it's very easy. All you need to do is the following. You just need to put your finger, your nail in here and bring up this little connector here. Done. Here we go. We've now disconnected our battery connector from our motherboard. Now just wait for a couple seconds. Wait for 30 seconds, I would recommend, with your connector like this. So once 30 seconds have passed, we're gonna perform the opposite. We're gonna bring down this connector. Here we go. It's now reconnected, and then we're gonna screw back on our battery connector screw, right? So this is how it goes. Put it back on, and while screwing, it's gonna attach well the battery connector. So once you're at max, do not apply more force, simply stop it right there. And then now we need to reconnect the flex cable. Now make sure you do not connect it in the opposite direction. Make sure you connect it in the correct direction. So all we want to do in here is simply gently put it back on. Okay, here we go. Once it's connected, we simply need to press down here. Boom, the lock. Okay, so here we go. We've just reconnected our battery and we are good to go. Next up, we're gonna reattach the back panel. Now I would recommend you guys, if you see a lot of dust in here like me, I would recommend you to clean it a bit. Not with wet cloth or anything like that. Just simply remove it with some cloth, and make sure you do not leave cloth particles in here. If you have an air blower, that's better. You can air blow this, or if you have some hair dryer, but not in the warm temperature, in the cool temperature, you can blow it here to remove dust from your laptop. So once this is done, we're gonna reattach the back panel. Remember, we've got in here these two connectors in here, so we need to insert it like this first, right? So this is how it goes. We're gonna put it somewhat like this, okay? And then we're gonna pull it inwards, okay? This is how it goes. Right one is already in, the left one is out. As you guys can see, it's not well aligned yet. Now let's work with the right one. Pressure here and then insert it like this. This is how it goes. Connected. You can double check right, left. Next up, you just need to apply pressure to connect the clicks. As you guys can see, there's one click in here. This is what should happen. Possibly two clicks, one at the left and one at the right. So once this is done, we're gonna reattach the screws back on, which is an easy process. Let's move into the left side. Here we go. Let's keep moving. Inferior right side. Yeah, the hinge is now well clicked. Here we go. Screw it to the right. Apply a bit of pressure here just to make sure that it sits well. Here as well, same process. Same thing goes in here, and at last here at the left inferior corner, let's bring it down. So once this is done, we're gonna flip our MacBook to its normal position, and then we're gonna open our MacBook and try turning it on to see if everything is working fine. Now, if you've got any issue, please leave a comment down below and I'll make sure I guide you, I respond to you as soon as possible. Now, if the MacBook refuses to turn on, simply connect your charger to see if the problem is having your MacBook without battery or not. Simply turn it on. Here we go. MacBook started. MacBook is good to go, and as you can see, I've disconnected my charger and my MacBook is running now on its battery. So it's common that after performing this, you might need to connect your charger because your MacBook might be in a deep sleep. So it needs to be connected to the charger to turn it on. And the progress bar is now loading, and I should have around 50% to 60% of battery here on my laptop. As you can see it from here, we've got power source battery with 61%. Thank you so much for making it till the end of the video, and if you find my video useful, consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment down below. If you have any doubt, simply leave a comment down below and I'll make sure I reply to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching Fixed by Shaq, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.